So people, they keep the house very skinny. So they pay less tax. So the tax based on the width, not the length and the height.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's very tall and very skinny. Welcome to Vietnam!
Chào mừng đến với Việt Nam.
The best and the only way to travel across Vietnam is to eat through it. The first stop of my journey began in Saigon, which is also known as Chi Minh City. I met up with a team from Saigon Street Eats and they took me around on a bike. The very first stop was this place right here. And this is where I ate my favorite meal in Vietnam. Seo is actually the sound that the batter makes as it hits the pan that it's made in. That's an interesting little secret, and I could capture that in camera, the tseo sound. So it looks like it's made out of egg, but it's not the case. When you first take a bite of this thing, it is insanely amazing. I tried to have it again at every single stop that I made in Vietnam, but it was still not the same as this very first time I tried it here. My favorite part about traveling is actually listening to the language. I do this weird thing in my mind where I'm listening out for words that are familiar, and that's how I learn languages in general. This is the clip of how Vietnamese sounds like when you first hear it. It's beautiful. Being lost in translation is a beautiful feeling for me, and I came here to be inspired again. It turned out to be a group of us that were doing the same tour, so I met some amazing people at the same time. The very next spot is a controversial spot for me because I'm extremely allergic to shellfish. It's usually Vietnamese culture to have snails and accompany that with beer. Of course, they had told the chefs that I'm allergic to seafood, so they prepared an alternative for me. It tasted like rice cake and then they had some egg in it. And I think in Vietnam they can literally give you a bowl full of the fish sauce and you have some bread and you'll be fine. That's how tasty every single thing is. Our very next spot was my second favorite thing that I ate in Vietnam. This is broken rice and it's served with pork chops on the side. When I tell you, this reminded me of home. It actually did, because South Africans, we believe in braaiing meat a lot. So if you've been or read about South African cultures, you know about a braai. So this tasted like my brother made it on a family gathering. The pork chops were so amazing and so tasty. Everything is of course served with amazing greens, fresh greens and salads, and it's a feast. I'm one of those people, when I find a favorite dish, I binge eat. They kept warning us, like, don't eat too much because we have a lot of stops for this entire trip. But I didn't listen, because when I find something I like, I'm such a picky eater and I have allergies. I find something that I enjoy, I have to enjoy it to the fullest. Our second to last stop was at this amazing place where we got to try out the classic Vietnamese glass noodles. So when we got to the soup, I was so full. And I do the same with wine tasting as well. Are you the same way? Can you drink within the limits during a wine tasting, or are you just there to drink? I'm just there to have a drink. And if the wine experts are like, if you'd like another glass, you can just say so. I do actually say so. I'd like to have some more, please, of this good wine before we get to some crappy ass brute, you know? So this was one of those moments as well. And finally, to end this beautiful evening, we had some dessert and we just had good conversations as well. This is one of the greatest gifts about traveling. You meet people who inspire you in a certain way. So for example, the couple that we met had resigned from their job. They left every single thing back in New Zealand and they just chose to travel. And there's nothing more inspiring than meeting people like that. It's these stories that you can only find when you travel that inspire me. People in their own lives are so inspiring. So I loved doing this with a bunch of strangers, and there's a tiny droplet of inspiration in every single person. So listen to people, hear their stories. That's how I always treat life. It's listen more, be attentive, and in one way or another that's going to sow a seed. Because I remember my biggest remark was that, wow, you guys are actually living my dream right now. So kudos for that. So yeah, that was it. This was my beautiful trip and I'm so happy that it happened. I would love to revisit, especially Ho Chi Minh City. I had fun from having the food, the partying, the lifestyle in general. Vietnamese people, you are so friendly, and thank you so much to the team at Saigon Street Eats as well.
Welcome to Vietnam! But yeah, it's okay, but like, you know,
my new friend. Her name is Long, and she's been taking me around to eat at the best spots in Vietnam. So I'm doing this just so I can always remember her, because we've had like the best street food tour.
I will always remember you too, Lele.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much for showing
you.
me. And we've been going around on a bike. It's pretty safe. She's like a perfect rider, you know, and she doesn't mind the Vietnamese bars on the street. I was a little afraid at first.
I know it's crazy. The traffic is really crazy.
Everyone is so careful though. I don't
Not
know.
everyone though. we do have traffic light, but
why do you guys just all go when you feel like going?
no, our rule is a little bit rebellious, I guess.
Yeah. Bye Long, thank you so much.
Bye, thank you so much. Chào mừng đến với Việt Nam.
I was in Vietnam myself. I just didn't do this today. Bye.